And good evening and welcome to another edition of WrestleTalk. I'm Ralph Williams along with Smokin Jim Frazier. It's great to be here tonight, as always. And today we have a special guest coming on around 4:30, ZACK RAYNE. He is an independent wrestler. He will be joining us around the 5:30 hour here on WrestleTalk. Tonight we have a lot to talk about. WWE, your thoughts on the bloodlines. There's rumors out there about different things that could be going on, different angles. Different things. I'm hearing stories about Nick Aldis maybe becoming a wrestler and going after Kevin Owens. There's a lot of stuff going on. WrestleMania is being talked about as we get into the start of the new year and the start of the season here as we lead up to WrestleMania. All right, my co-host Smokin Jim Frazier by phone. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program.
All right, thank you.
All right, and Smokin Jim, your thoughts on we'll get started last night's Raw, but before we do that, we have to take care of some of our business here with our sponsors. And the first sponsor we have to take care of here is Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And also, don't forget, we have some events coming up soon. That's an old event. Hold on a minute. I don't know why I even have that here. Let me do something here that I probably should have done already. Boom, there we go. That goes bye-byes. All right. We have a couple of events coming up here. That's a nice picture of me there with somebody. There we go. All right, I'll find it eventually here. No, I don't have it, but I will next week. I promise. Next week I'll have all the updated things that you need to know about that's going on in the wrestling. Well, here we go. Erie Wrestling. Don't forget to go check out Erie Wrestling at the Saga Club if you can get up to Erie. January 18th, February 1st, February 22nd, March 15th are the remaining events there. They just had one on January 4th. They're now at the Saga Club, which is a new place right down in the downtown area of Erie as well. All right. Okay, let me see here. All right, we got that there. All right. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program. Let's talk about WWE. Your thoughts on last night's Raw.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. It was incredible, man. Last night's Raw was, just the production of it. I thought that the last match, I thought that they were going to kill each other, man.
Oh, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, yeah, that was
when they got him off the gurney with that neck injury, man. I thought that was going a little bit too far, but what a match!
That was a crazy match.
What a way to end the show, yeah.
Well, how about what I said weeks and weeks ago that I told everybody and nobody believed me that Penta was coming, and Penta showed up last night. He fought Chad Gable. I like Penta. I saw him in AEW. I've seen him in all kinds of different New Japan. He's wrestled all over the world. An experienced Mexican wrestler, one of the luchador types. But he's got a very big time mean streak to him that really makes him an interesting thing. And I'm told his brother and manager are also supposed to be coming as well down the road. But right now, Penta's here by himself. Your thoughts on Penta?
Man, I tell you what, you were right as usual. The crowd really got behind him, man. He had a lot of people there. I don't know if it was his family in the front row that he kissed afterwards, but he's going to be a superstar, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in the WWE. WWE can make you even a better superstar, and it's just like, in the NFL, you aim to go to the Super Bowl. In baseball, you aim to go to the World Series. In hockey, you aim to go to the Stanley Cup. In NBA basketball, you go to the championship, and although you always aim to be the best, and for any wrestler to go to the WWE and make something out of themselves is a great thing. It really is. All right, Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on Chelsea Green, who is now the new U.S. title, and your girlfriend there, Piper Niven, is with her. Your thoughts on that?
I thought it was over for her. I thought she got beat, man. But
Yeah,
right at the end, man, she put a nice little move down. But definitely was aided by Chelsea,
Piper Niven.
uh,
Yeah.
Piper Niven, yeah.
Yeah, and then now we have the new women's intercontinental champion in Dakota Kai. Your thoughts on that?
Dakota Kai?
Yeah, your thoughts on her. She's the new women's I believe she won that match, or did Tyra Valkyrie win that? I can't remember. I watched
Tyra
won
won it.
that. Yeah, okay. Tyra
Yeah,
Valkyrie, your thoughts on that match?
man, it was a great one. Two outstanding wrestlers. Both of them had their opportunities to win. But I tell you what, man, what a fast rising star. I think she'll hold on to the belt for a while.
Oh, she could. Yeah, I believe she will. The women's division has gotten better in the WWE, and I can't wait as I hear WrestleMania is when Charlotte Flair will be back. She may even be back for the Royal Rumble, I'm told. So we're going to find out what happens there. And we still have yet to know what's going on with Becky Lynch. We do know she's retired from wrestling currently. She's writing a second book, doing some acting jobs, and staying home and taking care of the child. And Seth Rollins has been hard at work trying to take out CM Punk. That rivalry looks like it's going to continue. And Drew McIntyre being part of it as well. You know, they all three of them guys, one way or another, have gotten screwed all across the board since they've been in the WWE. Your thoughts on the three of them? CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre.
Hey, it's fun. Three superstars, man. Made a ton of money in wrestling, make a reputation there. So just interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, so am I. I'm interested to see what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and what kind of creative activities they have going on. There was a rumor out there, and I saw the Facebook, video. Adam Pearce, as soon as his contract runs out this year, he's done as the GM of Raw. Rumor has it it's going to be The Rock or somebody, but The Rock. If it is The Rock, which I don't believe it will be, because The Rock cannot commit full time because of his board op things with TKO, and also he's got his UFL football getting ready to start back up, and also his acting work. So he's got a lot going on in his life, and I believe that I don't think he's going to be involved. All right, we have some comments here. It says Josh Dorr says, "Well, hello, how are you, Josh? Thank you for being part of the program as well." And Josh says, of a big WrestleMania type of person. Yeah, exactly. WrestleMania is going to be big again this year, as it always is. It's a travesty. You're back under the 200 mark. Yes, it is, Josh. It is. Very much is so. We have people out here who don't like some of my opinions. They watch one show and then they see another one and they don't like my opinions on some things, so they get rid of themselves. But that's fine. I'd like to, those of you out here who are new to the show today, please don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel, Ralph Williams, RW Media. Don't forget to check out www.rwmediaproductions.com, done by our sponsor, Digital Data. And also, don't forget the radio shows, and also don't forget about the triple header of Ralph, which starts every Saturday at 8 a.m. with the Ralph Williams Show, my guest this week, and every third Saturday of the month, Tony Moreno will join us, 12:50 a.m., 92.5 The Answer, and also will be posted on my social media platforms every single Sunday night, 8 o'clock. Is when I post the radio shows, both the Ralph Williams Show and the Sports Corner radio show. But also don't forget about the External Bum Show. We talk about bums in sports and also regular sports topics. Ralph Williams, Smokin', Jim Frazier, Scott Morgan, Ralph, Leo Haggerty, and Jeremy Balrick. And we're on these same social media platforms here: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and the Huddle Sports Network on Roku. All right. Also, don't forget about the Sports Corner radio show every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., also on 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer. a part of the triple header of Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier here, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. All right, and don't forget tomorrow and every Wednesday, either at 7 or 8, depending on what I have going on. Every fourth Wednesday of the month will be on at 8 because I have my transit council meeting. So Ralph's Opinion Show tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Lots to talk about, including that racist comments that were made by the president of Cleveland Cliffs against the Nippon Steel Corporation. Oh my gosh! Wait till you hear what I have to say about that tomorrow on Ralph's Opinion, 7 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. All right. Okay, let's go to the comments section. Smokin' Jim, we have some comments here we're going to take a look at. All right, let's see what we got here. Pensman Sports says, hey, Ralph, thank you for tuning in, Pensman. Appreciate it. All right, we got Josh here. He says, Pensman, my therapist. All right, there we are. And then Josh and the guys are disco painted, and we got blacklisted in the chat of the external bum. No, you did not get blacklisted, Josh. Please do not tell stories. You didn't get blacklisted. What we want posted for comments is the topics that we are talking about. We're not talking about stuff that you post on there. So as long as it relates to the topic, we will accept your comments. Okay, and that's for everyone else out here as well. All right, thank you. Okay, so there you are. All right. It's a travesty. Yes, it is, Josh. That's really sad. Mata Heating, Bada. Yeah, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning is our sponsor, 724-201-0500. Thanks for reminding me, Josh, by the way, for that. There it is, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500. And we're here every single Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. For the Wrestletalk show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier. And sometimes we have 2-hour specials on Sports Corner, and we might, preempt the show or something to that effect as well. All right, Smokin' Jim, let's get back into Raw last night. The match between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. What a match that was. They were trying to, as you said, kill each other last night. I thought that match was one of the better. It was a great match for Raw last night. It was a WrestleMania type of match. Your thoughts on that match?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I really thought somebody was going to be out of action for the next 6 months or maybe in their career. I mean, it was that type of match. It was brutal. There's no love lost between those two guys, man. And I tell you what a way to close out the show, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Because what I'm tired of is when the WWE closes out the show with two guys talking to one another. They've done too much of that. And I think now that they're on Netflix now, and when you're on a separate network other than your own, and they're paying you money, they have some creative control into some of this stuff. Penta, new era. Yes, Pensman Sports, absolutely. Penta is the new era, and we're going to try. Pensman, I believe, gets into wrestling. We're going to get him to come on sometimes, talk with us about sports, get his opinion, on sports and also on wrestling, get his opinion on some stuff. He's a friend of mine, works with the came through. He's been on some of the shows with me on Fire Up on Thursday night with me and Candy Ebling, Jeremy Ballrick. He has his own channel on the Twitter X and also on YouTube as well. And he does a lot of stuff with, like he'll do play-by-play Steeler watch party kind of thing like Bubba does and things like that as well. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on last Friday night SmackDown? What do your thoughts? I know you're real happy about Tiffy time. What's your thoughts on Tiffy time?
I tell you what, man, best thing for wrestling right now. That somersault she does is incredible. Her whole look, her whole act. I like the way she said that everybody thinks she's dumb because she's blonde, but she really outsmarted everybody. And I think Tiffy's gonna hold on to that title for a minute.
Hey, you know what? Tiffy reminds me of Liv Morgan. Slick, don't look like she has a lot to her except for some of her moves. She's not big like Nia Jax or something like that. But you know what? She could wrestle. She's real slick, smart. Her and Liv Morgan are the one in the same, I think. I think both of them are kind of in the same on that, too. Speaking of Liv Morgan, your thoughts on Judgment Day? Do you think they stay together or break up and move on?
Well, long as Dominic keeps getting her bags, he might be able to stay with her for a little while.
Yeah, I know. I know.
She's mad at Dom right now, but yeah, I think they'll stick together for a while. I mean, where are they really going to go? Some of the guys really cannot wrestle as a single entity, so they need the faction.
Royal Rumble, Pensman says, Smokin' Jim, Royal Rumble will be crazy with Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and it'll be a fun Royal Rumble. Yes, it will. And also, I hear rumors The Rock may be involved in that match. Brought the return of Brock Lesnar. And also, I'm told maybe even Bill Goldberg might be in that match. I'm hearing them stories, John Cena in that. I'm hearing Charlotte Flair on the women's side. You never know at the Royal Rumble. One time, Michael Cole was in it. I mean, that was funny. You know what I mean? So wow. Judgment Day breaking up. Yeah, Pensman, I kind of agree with you on that. I've been hearing some reading some stories, some publications that have said that they think that that Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dirty Dom are probably going to get kicked out of the group, and Finn Balor's planning on leaving. So it's going to be JD McDonough and Carlito, and that's not cool. So there as well. But so. The Intercontinental or the U.S. title, Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight again. You think LA Knight can get the belt back, or do you think Shinsuke will keep it?
I don't know. It's hard to say, man. Shinsuke is slippery, man. He's always thinking one step ahead, either how to get his opponent disqualified or getting out of the match without a decision, or spitting some poison on some people. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get the title away from him with pinning him 1, 2, 3.
Well, you know something. The interesting thing is, I got some news for you here, Smokin' Jim. Guess who he was trained by?
Who?
The Great Muta.
Really?
Yeah, he was trained by the Great Muta. But he went into MMA first before he went into wrestling. And he was an MMA fighter. Then he came into wrestling and took a little time off from the WWE, went back to New Japan Wrestling, reinvented himself, and came back like he is. And also, now the WWE is doing what college football is doing. They're doing this transfer portal. So now I hear that the Wyatt Six are going to be involved in SmackDown now, and that doesn't feel too good with the Testament. They're not real happy about that because they're trying to sink the Wyatt Six. They're trying to take them out. So it says here. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now we got the wise guys all coming up with different things here. So. But anyway, all right, let's get back to the show here, Smokin' Jim. But like I said, I think Judgment Day might be breaking up. That's looking pretty interesting. My next question to you is your thoughts, and everyone out there, I want your comments as well. What's the bloodlines going to look like now? You have the one with Solo Sikoa. Do they break up? I'm hearing stories Solo may go back with Roman Reigns. Does Reigns keep the Usos and Sami Zayn? I hear some cousins are coming up. That's involved in the family. There's about 3 of them out there, and I heard they're all coming to the WWE, and they might join Roman Reigns' bloodline or Solo Sikoa's bloodline. Do you see this continuing, Smokin' Jim, now that Roman Reigns got the Malafala back?
I'm not sure. What you think, Ralph?
Well, I think Solo Sikoa's bloodline's going to go. I think Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu are going to betray Solo Sikoa, just like what Solo did to Roman Reigns. I don't know if they're going to start their own faction. Haku could get involved. That's Tama Tonga is Haku's son. Tongaloa is another one of Haku's sons. And Jacob Fatu, as you know, is part of the Uso family. Okay, his father is also Rikishi. So I mean, whether or not they all go, I see Solo Sikoa and maybe even Jacob Fatu joining up with the other bloodline. I see that happen. All right, Judgment Day. Yeah, we already got to that one. Let's see what we got here. All right, and okay, we got this one here.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ralph.
yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
Ralph. EST.
Bianca Belair, yes. I think her
Yeah,
and
what's
Jay
going to
Cargill are
happen?
going to break up.
Okay, is Jay that? You've been saying that for a while, and I agree with you. But how bad is Jay?
Well, she had an injury to start the whole thing. They had to get her out of the way to so she could nurse the injury and bring in Naomi to take her place. But they didn't expect what happened to her with this other injury. You see what I'm getting at? The idea was, you know how they always have somebody get pinned, lose a match, and then you don't see them for a while because they have an injury, or a woman wrestler who's pregnant or something like that. Okay, they always have that match that they lose, and then they go off for a while and come back. That's what was the plan for Jay Cargill. Now it's going to be longer because she got hurt by getting plowed into that car. You see? So, I mean, and they still don't know who did it. There's people out there that think Bianca Belair did it. Nia Jax. Some people call her Nia Jax. I call her real name's Nia Jax. So, I mean, and let's see what Pensman here says. He thinks it's everyone's going to join Roman. That's what Pensman thinks they're smoking, Jim. And we have Jay. Thank you, Jay. Yep, Jay. Pensman says that. And then Jay says, I don't know anything about modern wrestling. Oh, there's a lot of people like that. The 80s was probably one of the best eras. The 70s was a good era, 90s even. So a lot of people got into that. And as, as soon as it got kind of entertaining more than wrestling, that's when it, so yeah, I could call wrestling matches. I would love to. I'm trying to get a setup where Smoke and Jim and I could call a Raw event some night here. We'll broadcast or do some kind of independent wrestling and one of the independent wrestling things like Smoke and Jim does with El Levine. They do boxing. All right, now we have our guest here on the line or on the here. We're going to put him up in a minute. He's in the waiting room, but first we are going to go to our sponsor for this one, and that's the Steel City Yellow Jackets. They are an ABA basketball team. They play up here in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh, right up at the community Living Well Community Center. Tom LaJerke, who is our friend from KSWA Wrestling, he is the PA announcer there. So if you want to go see Tom, shake some hands, say hello, tell him you heard it here, and also tell Ace Pippin that we said hello. If you do go to one of the games as well. And Jay says Hulk Hogan versus Lex Luger. Yeah, that was a great match. So, how about the Sheik? Yes, that was a good match. Very good. Menza Crafty. See, that's the type of stuff we talk about here on this program. All right. Let's get this graphic off the air here for a minute here, and then let's get to our guest who's kindly waiting in the waiting room. ZACK RAYNE. ZACK, welcome to the program. It's good to have you.
What's up, man? How are you?
All right, ZACK, tell us, say hello to ZACK RAYNE there, Smokin' Jim, my co-host. He's on the phone here. Say hello to ZACK.
Hey, Zach. Glad to have you on the show.
All
Glad
right.
to be here, guys.
All right, ZACK, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you wrestle, how you got started in wrestling. How did you get started in wrestling?
I mean, I obviously screwed around a lot as a kid and got hurt and got grounded, and like most indie guys from the area. But I kind of came in on a really unorthodox way. I was looking into schools, but I was too young at the time, and in PA you got to be 18. I know there's some wiggle room depending on if you have a parent present and stuff like that now, but that wasn't the way it was back in the day. So I started looking into places down in West Virginia. So before any of that even happened, I had an aunt that I stayed with all the time out in the Pittsburgh area, and I spent my summers there, like pretty much exclusively. And one morning, I was doing some stuff around the house, and I hear this bam, bam. I'm like, what on earth is going on? It sounded like a car crash outside. And I look out, and the guy next door, this dude had to have been like in his 60s already, and it turned out he was actually even older than that. But he was setting up his ring in his yard, and his name was Nick Thorne. He had moved over here from Italy, and he was an old school guy, and he set it up and would still do bumps and run the ropes and stuff. And I went over and I was like, "Hey, you want to teach me how to wrestle?" He goes, "Sure, come in here." And all he did was grab hold of me and slam me as hard as he possibly could. And again, I didn't know any better at the time, but I was like almost dead. I roll out and he goes, "Stop by tomorrow." I think looking back, I'm pretty sure that he just figured I would never talk to him again. But I just kept coming over, and over the next couple of weeks, I think he was just beating me up. And then he finally said, he's like, "Okay, you kept showing up. I'm going to teach you how to do this." And so for about 2 years, I trained with him. That was my very beginning.
All right, we have Pensman Sports here who says he wants to see Darby Allin in the WWE. Zach, feel free to chime in on some of these comments. I don't know if you follow WWE and AEW and all that,
Yeah, no, I try to watch as much as I can. I'm at the age now where we have friends that are on both products, so it's cool to at least. How is it possible, Zach?
It's his house.
Kept all his teeth. I'm actually I'm missing 2 of them.
Okay. All right.
If you look real close here in the middle, I only have 3 teeth where there should be 4, and I had them pulled together so it still looks normal. And then there's one in the back. So yeah, he's not wrong.
Hey, remember when Claudio Castagnoli got all his teeth knocked out, and now he wears like a mouth guard or whatever? I remember that. Yeah, that was funny.
I thought about doing that early on. I thought it looked cool, but I don't know how anybody calls a match like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it could be hard to actually wear a mouthpiece like that and try to wrestle. You know what I mean? So football, absolutely. I see. I've worn one when I played football, so I know what it is. I wear a mouthpiece now. I have a sleep apnea situation. I wear a mouthpiece. So.
Does it help? I think I'm like, my wife says I started snoring recently, so I'm like considering it.
There you go. All right, Smokin' Jim, any questions for Zach?
No, sir. I'm enjoying the conversation, though.
All right, Zach. What wrestling companies do you wrestle with right now? You're an independent wrestler. Where do you wrestle at? Where's your main area?
So you caught me at an interesting time. So I actually wrestled my last match Saturday. That was my I had my retirement match. I'm actually 40 years old, so I know a lot of guys tell me I don't look it, but I wrestled for 22 years. And physically, I'm still pretty good. I mean, I have, my knees hurt, my back hurts, my neck hurts, but I've had a rough time with COVID. My lungs, you can even hear it now. It doesn't sound super great. So I just don't have the wind anymore. So I'm transitioning into backstage doing some commentary. But you're catching me. You're the first guy to pull me on right after my retirement match.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, no. HWF was probably my home promo for the longest for a while now. They're honorary wrestling federation out of Lewistown, PA.
Okay.
He has the best. Guy's name is Matt Silks and Trista Silks. They run.
Yeah, I know Matt. We've had Matt on the program here. I know Matt very well.
Listen,
yes.
When I tell you, and now I have no skin in the game. He's not paying me anymore, so this is the truth, right? I think that guy has the best production of any indie company I've ever seen in my life. And I've wrestled.
Wow.
I've wrestled down in Harrisburg in front of a couple thousand people, in the old Jaffa with the giant screen. And that's awesome. It's a spectacle. But Matt consistently puts on like TV quality production. It's crazy.
Yeah, I hear he does. I've heard from some other wrestlers that he puts on a great show, and a lot of guys like to wrestle for him too. So in his production. So here's a question for you here. I don't know if you saw it. Here's that.
The one on the bottom.
Zach, what is the hardest move you have done, and what was your worst injury you have seen, and what do you prefer, baby face or heel?
I'll start with the bottom one first. I was a face pretty much my entire tenure. I only had 2 short heel runs. One was about 3 years, which I guess isn't that short, but compared to 22 years, and then another time for about a year. But most of my life I've been a face. as far as hardest move I've done, I don't know if he means like taken or did. When I was little, I used to be little. When I was in my early 20s, I used to be able to do a Phoenix splash. But I thought it was too inconsistent to do on shows. Worst injury I've ever seen on a show. Oh man, I would say like early on, I saw a green guy bump into the corner, and he hit his leg on the ropes, and he got they call it a spiral fracture. He ended up breaking his leg in like he says 8 places, but I don't know if that's like wrestler 8 places or actual 8 places. You know what I mean? But it was bad. It was bad.
Okay, question here from Pensman Sports. Zach, were you or are you interested in UFC?
I followed it a little bit. I have some family that watches it pretty religiously. I really like that. What was it? Was it Ultimate Fighter that was like their version of Tough Enough?
Yeah, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Yeah, and then there's
really
mixed
cool.
martial arts MMA too.
Yeah, that was cool. I followed that Diego Sanchez out of that for a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, unless it was pro wrestling, I didn't have time to pay attention to it.
Yeah, you know what? It's tough. Well, I don't say it's tough. It's entertaining and independent. So you guys just get around. You go to all the different places, and it's a lot of fun. You get to see different people. Get to meet some good people. You know, I've been to some of the matches. I like them. So go ahead.
Yeah, I see the comment on going. Hey man, I appreciate that. Like, it's horrible. Like, I don't think people realize. I mean, some do, because like obviously some people lost their lives, but like mine, I was fortunate that I can still work and I can still do some things. But yeah, as far as being a top level athlete, you got to be able to breathe, and I'm just not there anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, you know, there's a lot of guys like Bubba Brewer. He's a friend of mine, of ours, friend of the show here.
Yep.
He's in. We're connected with him. We sponsor his shows, and he sponsors us. And he got out of wrestling. He said he got tired of getting beat up. So I mean, you know, sometimes
he's a lot bigger than me too. He could take a beating way more than I could.
Yeah, he's got his Allied Powers Wrestling. We're going to be hearing from him this year. I'm going to try to get him on to talk with us about what they're up to. Pros of Wrestling, Dan Polinsky. I try to get him on. He has a big thing coming up in March. His son, Sam Adonis, is wrestling down at the WrestleRex coming up February 8th. I'm working on getting Smokin, Jim, and I there. So if you want to stop by and see us at the City Winery, it'll be February the 8th. Bell time 7 o'clock. So
WrestleRex is always really cool. I remember when they took a break there, like there was like all the indies were upset about that. Like it's really cool to see that they're back running again.
Oh yeah, and it says here, so you are a baby face. This is from Jay. He says that explains it all a lot. I mean, hardest move you could do, and the Phoenix splash. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Some more questions for you here, Jay or Zach. You got a lot of questions today. Have you caught Maven Huffman's show? He's a cool guy and a tough enough. Is the question.
I haven't yet, but I'm making texting a note to myself to go look it up. Is it YouTube or where's it at, buddy?
I'm not sure. I don't even know the show myself.
I didn't know if this guy would tell us.
To the best of my knowledge, says Jay, I've never had COVID, but who knows? All right,
good
yeah, well,
man. Good for you.
COVID changed everything.
6 times here, buddy.
Oh my, wow, that's crazy. All right, best fans, Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, and West Coast, and Southwest. Which region? Got to pick at it. No pressure. And then it also says this question is sure to make you a heel in some people's.
The second I started reading it, I was like, "Oh, this guy's trying to get me in trouble." Listen, I don't think anybody can beat Northeast wrestling, and I mean, I know I'm biased, but like I've traveled a good bit, and every area has its own style and stuff. So it could just be again like a preference thing, but like ECW and like some of the Pittsburgh Feds, Ring of Honor having such a heavy presence here, I think it really like built its own style, and it's a very work rate built like focused style. Like it's very scientific, and I like that.
Yeah, have you ever wrestled with KSWA? You do know they're folding up at the end of this year. They
I didn't know they were closing, but I'm super familiar with them. Jack Massacre is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, it's their 25th anniversary, but they're also calling it quits at the end of the year. Do you think? And I was told today that there's too much saturation in independent companies around here right now, and it's hard to some of them. It's hard to make money. Do you believe that to be the case, or do you believe what I believe, and that is independent wrestling is exploding all over the place, and there are companies opening up that might not be as good as others, and they're just throwing people in the ring and all that stuff. What are your thoughts on this, Zach?
So I got I had a long enough career that I kind of got to see some booms and busts. Like I came in right as ECW was gaining traction, so there was that huge explosion of like places like CZW out in Philadelphia, and like some of the indie shows were really doing well. And then there was like a lull there, but I honestly think that right now there's so much money being just left on the table, and again I don't want to keep making it seem like I'm sucking up to like two specific guys, but Matt Silks and Marshall Gambino, both of those guys knew that all they had to do was the extra work that some of these other anybody can throw up a curtain, play some music, set up some chairs, and put guys in a ring. But when you go the extra mile and you have like some video, you promote it right, and you select some guys so that there aren't these dead spots on your card, I think that people will keep coming. I don't think Matt has had a show under 300 in over a year. And I know that like to some people that are only used to watching WWE, that may not seem like a lot, but even Chikara, which was considered like one of the most successful indies ever, they used to say that if you could draw 300 regularly, you were crushing it. And Matt's killing it.
Oh yeah, Matt is doing well. Smokin' Jim, do you have any questions for Zach here? Anything you want to add?
No, great conversation though.
All right. Smokin' Jim's at the bingo parlor in Bethel Park, so and but anyway, Jay says thank you for the answers there. Appreciate it, Zach. And let's see here. Well, whatever that is. All right. Let's see here. I'm nothing theme. All right, there we go with that. They have these battles on the comment section, Zach, sometimes.
Well, that's all right. I'm used to it. At least it's not directed at me this time.
Something of explaining that Taco Bell last night. I had Taco Bell last night. Well, good to hear that. Good to hear Taco Bell. I had my wife's homemade chili last night. I'm going to have some more tonight. So there you go. And you can ask Smokin' Jim. I make a very good stew. So there you go. I have my own version of a stew. So right, Smokin' Jim.
Chicken soup all day, guys. I was off sick. You're getting me the most alert I've been today. There's a lot of Dayquil coursing through my blood right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that there are a lot of wrestling companies opening up. There's some really good ones that we're associated with, and there's some other ones that don't return my phone calls and have been real cold with me. And they know who they are, and they're not welcome on this program if they're going to do that kind of stuff to me.
No, it's weird. It's so weird. That's one thing that I've just never understood. And in some areas really got it right. Like I'm born and raised Pittsburgh boy, but I found myself wrestling more out towards the Harrisburg area on the back half of my career, and I still come out to Pittsburgh. I love it; it's my home. But the one thing I noticed down there was that even promoters that hated each other, and I'm gonna shout them out. They're not gonna care, and I'm retired now anyway. So if they want to punch me, they can. But I respect both of these guys. But Rob Noxious from CCW and Kevin Murphy from Ultimate Wrestling Experience, at one point were like legit mortal enemies. But they literally, I remember hearing like, "Hey, we're going to meet at a bar and we're going to sit down and we're going to see how we can make some money." And they had a handshake deal and they started working together, and they pulled like 1,700 in the Joff one time. And I think that the main event was like AR Fox, AJ Styles. Like it was crazy to be on shows like that. And it was all because these guys were able to differentiate like ego from making money, and they all worked together. I think if Pittsburgh would start to do that more, they could see some crazy numbers, even if it's not regularly,
Right. Yeah, you know what? You know what they always say, but I've heard this saying before too. There's one bowl of dog food and not enough dogs, or too many dogs. You know what I mean? And you know, now the independent wrestling circuit's starting to kind of get like that. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, where everybody, you know, is starting up all these wrestling companies. But what's nice about independent wrestling, and I've said this many times, is the fact that you can go there for some great entertainment and not pay a lot of money. And that's what's so nice about it. And it's a family thing too. You know, I've gone to some Raw events and SmackDown events, and I've had my friend, he gave me free tickets one time because he said, I'm not taking my daughter because I took her to one and I was in a section where there was a bunch of drunks and all they did was swear and cuss and get in and throw things at everybody and start fights. So, you know, but I've been to independent wrestling matches and I plan on going to more, and I like them. My mother, she got away from WWE because she got tired of what she called the same old crap. And I took her to one independent wrestling event. She wants to come to every one with us now. So that's great. You know, I got my mother involved. So, I mean, you know, so, but I think it's a lot of people are moving into the independent circuit as far as watching a lot of those, going to those events because they're a lot of fun and it's inexpensive. It's not a lot of money. You don't have to take out a loan.
It's become more accessible too, and like with Hunter kind of steering the big boat now up in the WWE, like you're seeing a lot more you're seeing a lot more friendly encouragement and support from the big company.
Yes.
He's treating the indies like a farm club, which is what it should be. Like, is every guy going to make it? Of course not. But there's a handful of talent running around. I mean, the Pittsburgh area, we know, like if you're good in Pittsburgh, AEW or NXT is going to pluck you right out. Like, we've had a million guys get selected. So, like, the exposure's there. The eyes are on you. You just got to put the work in.
Yeah, you do. You have to put the work into everything. It's like this now. I was in broadcasting back in the late 80s, early 90s. I kind of, and I'm not crying spilled milk or not, but I kind of got screwed over on some jobs that I should have had. And I did it through TV, and then I got out of it for a little while and started getting back into things 3 or 4 years ago doing podcasting here. And I started getting back into things, and now I'm back on the radio again. We have shows. I do the Ralph Williams show on 12:50 a.m. And you got to put the work in. That's a definite thing, no matter what you do. And I'm working right now hard, trying to get more subscribers on my YouTube channel, more followers on my Twitter accounts. With that comes more, you know, people watching the show. And I've noticed since I've come back for this year, and I want to thank Josh Dorr for helping me out a little bit with some of this stuff, that I've managed to get more viewers to the shows. I mean, we're having more consistent viewers to my show. And again, you got to work at it. You can't just sit there and think something's going to come to you. It's not, or the door's going to knock, and it's not. You know, you got to. You know.
It's always a slow build. Like again, I know I keep going back to the well, but it's like it's my recent exposure. But like, you know, even like with what Matt's doing out there at the HWF, like I remember, you know, when I first came out there, he brought me in to wrestle him for the belt. You know, and we had a really nice couple of, you know, shows and stuff together. And consistently since that time, since I've been with him, I've just watched him slowly build this. And he's been very smart about his money. He pays. Listen, when I tell you, some guys, they want to give you the old hot dog and the handshake. Matt's not that guy. He always takes care of his people, and he's still managed to make money. And this year, like, it's grown to a point now where the only way to start getting even bigger, like if you're pulling 300 plus in a building like that, he's going to start looking at some names, bringing in some guys from AEW and Ring of Honor and stuff, and some other things. And
IFC does that a lot. They got Elias wrestling for them consistently now, the former WWE star. Moriarty, they brought him in a couple times. Rise has even had Moriarty, the one that wrestles on AEW.
They both started in Pittsburgh. You know,
exactly. You know, so there's times when some of those guys, EC3 is supposed to be at that Wrestle Rex on February 8th. That's going to be interesting down there at the City Winery in the Strip District. So, so some of these shows, they do a lot of bringing in a lot of those kind of guys as well. And a lot of guys, Zach, and I think you'll agree with me, resurrect their careers. They might have had a bad career at WWE. They might have not, the creative might not have been so good. And then they leave, they go to independence. Look at Braun Strowman. He did that for a little while. But look at Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona's still doing it. And I mean, he was doing, he does a lot of those independent things. He's got some championships. EC3's doing it too. So I mean, these guys are themselves out there. Sam Adonis.
My fault. I didn't mean to talk over you, but the truth is, it's just like what you're doing. It's you have your own method and your own way that you're trying to cultivate your fan base. Being on TV is not a guarantee that you're going to sell merch. Like that's one thing. Like you'll hear these guys, and that's another thing you'll hear from workers. They're like, "Oh, there's no money in the indies." There is. Let me tell you. So like I didn't wear this T-shirt just for my health, but like this one alone, like I sold so many that it was unreal. Like when me and John Roden started the whole Neverfall thing, one of the first things we thought about was like, would we wear this stuff even if we weren't wrestling fans? So like we always designed with that in mind, and like it started off as like a fitness thing we were doing on Instagram, but we made a ton on it, and promoters liked it and fans liked it. By the end of our run as a tag team, we were 64-1. Actually,
Wow,
Matt
that's
Silks,
great.
yeah, and that was, what's crazy? Like people will be like, "Oh, did you know the Booker?" Like laughing, but it was across. It was across. I mean, I don't even know how many promotions. For whatever reason, the ball started rolling. Promoters liked it, and nobody wanted to be the guy to end it. So by the time we got to the end, we were like, "Hey, it's time to pass the baton." You know what I mean? But it was actually the Sons of Mifflin County, Matt Silks and Artie Mosh, that ended up putting the nail in the coffin for us. They were our first and only loss, and but there's, like I said, there is money out there, but you gotta work a little bit. Any guys watching? Again, I know I'm plugging him, but reach out to Silks for some T-shirt designs. He'll make you the best shirt you've ever had.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did tell me he was in the. He does that kind of work. He told me that when I
did. Yeah, he kills it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Zach, how much time do you have available here?
I'm good for a little bit here. You got me till 6 at least.
All right. Well, good. We're real quick here. What are your thoughts on currently what's going on at WWE? You got Royal Rumble coming up, Raw moving to Netflix, SmackDown going 3 hours, so is Raw. What do you think of the changes that Paul Lafitte has made?
He's got me watching again. I used to only tune in whenever one of my friends was like on TV, or a guy that we knew from from the indies and stuff. And of course, like the Rumble is like a big tradition with my friend group. We get together all the time for that, and we have a belt, we have like a scorecard, but
right.
So everybody watches the big ones. But I've honestly been trying to stay more current, with him. I always liked NXT for that reason. I think he's a brilliant booker. Like he just knows how to use. He focuses on what guys are good at instead of trying to make them. Do you ever hear the expression of fish climbing a tree?
Yeah,
he doesn't do that. Like if you can swim, he lets you swim. So I mean, I like it. I think it's been pretty good.
All right. One more. We got to pay a couple bills here, Zach. So let me get to that real quick here. Fold and Travel Mobility. Call them today. Listen, if you can't afford a wheelchair accessible van from Keystone Coachworks, why don't you get a hold of foldandtravelmobility.com? You can get a folding power wheelchair and put it in the trunk of your car, and then that way you could be able to still go to some events. Get a hold of them today. They have over 25 years of experience, some real great experts, and they also have some great specials. And what else? Financing. I love companies that have financing, give you an option to get this, especially my handicapped brethren out there as well. And Zach, if you don't know, you probably do, or maybe you don't. I'm handicapped in a wheelchair, and I always stick up for the handicap and always make sure that things are where they need to be. So as far as that goes. But anyway, if you know any wrestlers going to Erie, and I'm not saying this is probably one of the last times I'm going to say this because some things are coming up. If you know any wrestlers up in the Erie area there that wrestle, tell them do not stay at the Candlewood Suites Hotel in the Mill Creek Mall. Okay. They did me wrong as a handicapped person. They disrespected me. I am working with the ADA and the discrimination people. They also they threw us out of a hotel because my wife complained about getting some sheets changed. She raised her voice a little bit, and they threw us out. And my mother, who was with us as well, they really called her all kinds of names and everything else. That's elder abuse. So I'm getting them for all that. And I told them, I warned them. I said, in case you don't know, I have my own production company. I put out podcasts, radio shows, and everything else. I will eat you alive. And they said, oh well, or no, you won't do that, or they thought because I'm in a wheelchair that's not going to happen. Well,
You need
you
to
know
make
what?
a little flyer to hang behind you with like the circle with the thing over it. Just
Yeah,
put it right
exactly.
over your shoulder.
Yeah, well, tell all your Erie friends if they're going up or don't stay there,
Well, they're
because I
listening
tell
right
you
now.
what, you will regret it. Believe me, you will. Trust me.
Listen,
So
there have been some rough places. I thought when you first started that, I thought it was going to be like a bed bug horror story because those are.
yeah, I know the hotels with the bed bugs. I watch enough Hotel Impossible.
There's been more than one town where we went, exhausted after the show, and we took about 2 steps in the room and went, I'd rather sleep in the car.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I had a church friend of mine who goes up there for that boat show, that boat thing. They have old fashioned boats and they put them right out on Lake Erie there, right by where the tower is down there downtown. And he goes for that show every year. He said he couldn't get a room, and the Candlewood had rooms, but he remembered what I said, and he slept
got
in
him.
his van. And he slept in his van, right down at the bayfront. He slept in his van. He could have went to the Candlewood, but he said, you know what?
Right in your parking lot.
Yeah. So the word's out there. So, and I've been telling all them guys going up to Erie, to Bill Colliers and all them guys that go up there, hey, everybody knows now. So it's out there. So, but yeah, like I said, if you know anybody, tell them not to stay there. Zach, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about AEW wise or anything like that? What's your thoughts on AEW these days? Where do you think where do you think MJF's going to move or go? Christian Cage, guys like that, or John Moxley.
I think MJF especially has been extremely smart. I know that like he's so polarizing, and people act like that's a bad thing, but like everything he's doing is crafted. We were on we wrestled at Legacy Wrestling in Harrisburg together for a while, and he was always, and so like the dude was brilliant even before people started to notice him. Like whenever we heard that he got snatched up, there wasn't a single person that shared a locker room with him that was surprised. So I think he's going to do what he can to build his brand. Like they're putting a lot of gas behind him. He'll know when the right time to make any moves is. But I do think you're gonna see him in WWE at some point. He's just too good not to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And John Moxley still has the title, and we're going to see how far that goes. You got Christian Cage with that clipboard in his hand. He's got that contract, kind of like a Money in the Bank kind of thing. And you got Garcia. He's the new Continental Champion, and we're going to see how far he goes. It's an interesting setup. Chris Jericho, though, is ROH champion. He's got his little niche, his little group there, the Learning Tree. I like Jericho. I always have, no matter if he's a heel or a babyface. I always like him, and I like MJF there. And John Moxley. I like the Mox. And Pensman said that Darby Allin should be in the WWE. Maybe should. I don't know.
I think he's another one that you will eventually see it. A lot of people, I mean, for obvious reasons, compare him to Jeff Hardy. They're going to make so much money off of him with merchandise that it's unbelievable. As long as he stays healthy, sometimes when he takes some of those bumps, I feel it.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting too. I just wonder how guys like that don't have a short career. You know what I mean? With what they do, some of them. So
I think that he's a probably better bumper than what people realize, because we did some really stupid stuff. Like I was, when I first broke in, I was only 160 pounds. Back then, I was the smallest guy on every roster, so I was getting thrown all over the place. I took some stupid bumps that I shouldn't have, and my back's not what retired me. You know what I mean? Honestly, if it wasn't for the lung thing, I still think that I can go. So who knows, man? He may just be one of those genetic freaks too. Look at Ric Flair. Flair used to drink till 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, and go wrestle 45 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Ric Flair, man. Absolutely. All right, Zach, thanks for being part of the program. We're getting ready to wrap things up here with WrestleTalk. Jim, do you have anything you want to add?
No, great job, Zach.
All right. And thanks, Zach, for being part of the program. We'll try to have you back on again some other time. Spread the word about our show. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have several other shows as well you might enjoy. Sports, general talk, and a whole lot more. Also, don't forget to tune into the radio show, everyone. my radio show, the Ralph Williams Show, every single Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 12:50 a.m., 92.5 The Answer. And Smokin' Jim and I, we have a version of Sports Corner. It's called the Sports Corner Radio Show. And, you know, Beaver County Radio tried to shut us down, but guess what? We're back and we're on the Answer, 92.5 FM, 1250 on the AM dial. The Answer, 2 to 3 p.m. every Saturday. Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. And this week on Facebook, it had a photo of the old Beaver County Radio thing up there, and it said then, and I put the one up for The Answer now, and I put it at the top, bigger and better. So there you go. So, you know.
You're the rebels. I love it.
All right. Thank you very much, Zach. Again, I thank you for being on the program. And Jay said, Zach, sorry for misspelling your name earlier. Great interview and good luck moving into your back office. So there you go.
Thank you.
All right. And Zach, also good luck with your broadcasting commentary career, you know, and whatnot as well. All right, Zach, thank you for being part of the program. We'll talk to you another time. Thank you and be safe. All right. All right, Zach RAYNE, our guest here, independent wrestler. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on Zach before we wrap it up?
Zach did a great job, man. Very knowledgeable, very experienced, man, and looking forward to seeing what he does in the future.
Yep, and it's the beginning of the year, Smokin' Jim, and I'm just getting started, the booking machine. More and more to come, so there we go. All right, let's see what our last few comments here, what Jay has to say. Jay, a steady watcher of RW Media programs. He's a baby face. I know he won't get mad. All right, and then Jay also says, it says good night, Ralph, or good guess, Ralph. There we go. All right, thank you, Jay. I appreciate Josh, everyone at Pensman Sports. Pensman, we're going to get you on here and on the Sports Corner show as well, coming up soon, right here, probably in the next week or two, because we're going to be we have our 4 stages of Steeler Talk. Today we did show 1 of the closing of the Steeler season. Show 2 is next week. Show 3 and show 4. We're going to wrap up January with that. February, March, and we're going to be talking about the draft, the Super Bowl, where the other NFL teams, all kinds of stuff going on. Sports Corner is going to be a really great show. And don't forget the radio show Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 a.m. and 92.5 on the FM dial. The Answer. Smokin' Jim Frazier, have yourself a great night. Check out Smokin' Jim on Bethel Park TV, on YouTube, and on Facebook on the Pittsburgh Sports Line show with Al Levine, Nick Callis, and once in a while, Chip Hayner and Mike. What's his last name? Rohde or something? Mike Rohde?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Rohde. Yeah, I got his name right. Okay. All right. And don't forget to check out Smokin' Jim on Wednesday on the Guns channel for the Guns Sports Show with Guns Jim Allenbogen, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Smokin' Jim Frazier and Mike Rohde. For next week, so before Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Have yourself a great night and please be safe. And Happy New Year if I haven't wished you one. Have a Happy New Year.